Welcome to the Natasha Helfer Podcast. To help keep this podcast going, please consider donating at natashahelfer.com and share this episode. To watch the video of this podcast, you can subscribe to Natasha's channel on YouTube and follow her professional Facebook page at Natasha Helfer, LCMFT, CST-S. You can also find all her cool resources at natashahelfer.com. The information shared on this program is informational and should not be considered therapy. This podcast addresses many topics around mental health and sexuality and may not be suitable for minors. Some topics may elicit a trigger or emotional response, so please care for yourself accordingly. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or feelings of Natasha Helfer or the Natasha Helfer Podcast. We provide a platform for open and diverse discussions, and it is important to recognize that different perspectives may be shared. We encourage our listeners to engage in critical thinking and form their own opinions. The intro and outro music for these episodes is by Otter Creek. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Natasha Helfer Podcast, where we go after shame any flipping way we can get to it. We are so anti-shame. We're so excited about it. Quick note before I introduce my guest and we get started. I just want to let people know that next Thursday night, so a week from now, I will be teaching at the Sanctuary, Salt Lake City, on consent. This is a spiritual community for those who practice any form of ethical non-monogamy. And part of that is classes and things like that. So we'll be diving into Betty Martin's Wheel of Consent, which I'm really excited to do some exercises around that. On June 3rd, my practice, Symmetry Counseling, we have our monthly free faith transition support group. June's topic will be about communicating with believing family and friends. That starts at 7:30 in person in the Cottonwood Heights area, or you can join us online no matter where you are at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm also offering a CE for mental health providers with Dr. LaShawn Williams in July on the topic of working with clients from an LDS Mormon background. So for those of you who work with LDS or Mormon clients and want to become more culturally competent, we'll be offering that as well. And then Sunstone's coming up. So I'll be presenting at Sunstone at the end of July. That's here in Salt Lake City. And for those of you who come and attend that, I'm excited to have my table up and connect with the many people that we tend to connect with. You can find me at natashahelfer.com. You can find my practice at simcounseling.com. We do have people with openings. I have a few openings myself right now, which isn't always the case. So if you're needing some extra support with sex therapy, relationship work, faith transitions, those are kind of like the areas we specialize in, but we can help you with lots of other issues as well, including eating disorders, OCD, trauma, etc. All right. That's a lot. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my guest today. Her name is Laurel Hell. She's a former Mormon from the Bay Area in California who now resides in New England and New York City. She designs a software full-time, owns a publishing business, and a small design shop on the side. She enjoys trail runs, concerts, languages, and empowering people out of their sexual shame. Which is why I'm so excited to talk to her. She was recently on Mormon Stories, which is a pretty popular podcast as well, talking a lot about her history with Mormonism in particular. But we are going to be focusing more on sex toys today. So I'm super excited about that. So hi, welcome to the program, Laurel. So happy to have you.
I'm honored to be in the presence of the Queen. I've been following your saga for so long and just... I just adore you and everything.
Oh, thank you.
Everything you say when I hear you on other people's podcasts, I'm shouting the same thing at the same time. And I'm like, we're on the same page spiritually.
I love it. We are sisters in Zionesque. Something
better. Sisters in hell.
Better. We're redefining Zion through sex toys.
Yes. I like it.
We're reclaiming it. I love it. Well, so Laurel, tell us a little bit about your background and kind of what gets you interested in. I mean, I think we both have a similar history in being raised in purity culture,
Yes.
Types of, downloading those kinds of messages. So yeah, give me a little bit about yourself personally.
Well, most importantly, I masturbated my whole life as a kid. So
I love it. Me too.
Special. Yeah, I know. And high five. And it was great. I masturbated all kinds of ways, all kinds of places. But yeah, I definitely fell into the Mormon purity culture at some time. Like, and there can be societal culture too, that other people like other kids would pick up from their parents or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And I do recall a time maybe in fourth grade where I became aware that what I was doing was considered taboo, wrong, whatever. But I did have quite a handle on my, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say on this podcast,
Oh, you
but
can
I had
say
quite
whatever
a
you
handle
like to
on my,
say.
okay, good. Quite a handle on my sexuality when I was young, but also like not really any context. And I was researching pictures of beautiful women on the beach and scantily clad or not clad too. So that was another part of my sexual story. But yeah, I at
As far
some
as
point,
being curious, like
yeah.
looking for materials.
Oh yeah, and I also thought all girls did that because they never talked about porn in church being something women did, or when they talked about sexuality, it was about men objectifying women. So I was like, oh, well, everyone objectifies women. So that's a little part of my story too. No, no, spoilers, but so yeah, it was around 16. I had super traumatic confession experience with a bishop. Was indeed, as many are, asked all kinds of inappropriate questions. I did find out because of doing my Mormon Stories podcast, and someone who knew me was able to find it, that the bishop did the same thing with a lot of other girls, and he actually got released for inappropriate behavior with girls,
Oh,
allegedly.
wow.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, he just he was getting off on, interviewing us and confessions and all that kind of stuff. So,
Mm.
not even that uncommon in Mormonism, but completely wrong and inappropriate and disgusting. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, it took me, so this is a fun fact. I didn't masturbate or have sex. I hadn't had sex, but I didn't masturbate for 16 years until I left the Mormon church around age 28. So that's pretty impressive. I'm pretty impressed with myself. But I'm just kidding. But like,
Just
yeah,
of your scrupulosity.
not healthy, right? And
So
anyway,
at some point you
yeah.
did buy into the idea that masturbation was a sin and stopped because you're
Oh,
saying it started when you were a little girl. So around what age
yeah.
did you decide, oh my goodness, I'm not supposed to be doing this?
I think it was around fourth grade, so probably was like 9. And it actually wasn't the church, it was a message from somebody at school who was secular, I think. Or maybe they were religious at home. But then you start picking up, as soon as you become a preteen, these messages start getting, passed around in church. But no one ever defines masturbation or even references it. So
Mhm.
there's like all this vague language around it. There's a lot of shame and like confusion, but no direct naming of it. And so I started to feel like, because, I'm associating these things with sexual imagery and film and stuff, like that it's probably wrong. But I literally had to tell the bishop, like, when I went in to confess, he asked if I was masturbating, and I said, I don't know what that is. And I was 16 years old.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
crazy. Like,
Um,
yeah, the internet hadn't exploded completely the way it is now, but still, that's just so wild to me. Um,
yeah.
so again, you're taught these shame-based patterns, but you're not actually taught if you're doing something wrong or not. And that
Mhm.
just creates also a very dangerous situation for a young girl who's then going into an unvetted leader to confess and all that. So,
Mhm. Are
yeah.
you comfortable sharing? I mean, I think we could say that the whole process of going through a worthiness interview can be traumatic, just because
Oh,
the
yeah.
process
That's why I didn't masturbate for 16 years. It was
yeah,
like shut down. Like,
down.
never want to deal with this again, you know?
Yeah. So what made this particular, like, I mean, I guess, there's worthiness interviews where even though I would say they're all
They are, yeah.
problematic, there are bishops that I would say are more appropriate, right?
Yeah, and
So what
I
was
have
that
had those too.
experience?
And I
Yeah.
I think it's important to differentiate those two because within a system where they don't really have a choice but to do these interviews, there are good men out there who are like, don't tell me another word. I don't need to hear anything else. Like,
Mhm.
are you repentant? That's enough for me. Sinners go to the temple, whatever it is they say, you know?
Right.
And I've had bishops like that too, especially in school.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So,
this particular bishop was actually asking more
yeah.
questions, more details,
Mhm.
wanting more, and
Mhm.
then in a sense getting off on that.
Oh, absolutely. And like he asked things that like I wouldn't have known unless I'd watched like porn, but I never watched porn videos. So like now I can think back and be like, oh, like he got that from his own porn watching.
Mhm.
But like at the time I was just like I really reacted in this like disgusted, confused, like, why the fuck are you asking me that? Like I was I was not in my humility. I was like, what? No, like what are you talking about? And it like kind of snapped him out of his fantasies. So he's able to like, okay, well, I think it was a test, right? And he's a predator, so it was a test. And uh it just like it's just clear that this had nothing to do with my own repentance. It really was him pushing for something he was actually fantasizing about or wanted to fantasize me being involved in. So yeah,
Right.
I and Rebecca Biblioteca and Landon just did an awesome episode on. There was like a leak of questions being asked to queer women or women who've had same-sex experiences or interest, and they're really despicable questions. And I felt like those were the kind of things I was being asked, and that was in a non-approved way. So now
Mhm.
the church is codifying these things in an approved way. That's so much worse because then you can't hold these men accountable because they're doing what they were told to, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Well,
I'm
and
sure
just
you've
for
talked so many times about these interviews. Like, they're not good. Yeah.
yeah, not good. Yeah, and just to kind of give a little bit of background for people who may not know what we're talking about. I mean, in the LDS community, it is part of normal worship to go in for what is called a worthiness interview, even if you haven't done anything wrong. It's just you go in and you are asked certain questions, some of them being about your sexuality that prove your worthiness. And that's the language we use, right? Is
Mhm.
worthiness. Are you worthy or are you not? Which right off the bat, as somebody who's in the field of psychology has huge psychological implications for how that gets internalized for people.
Oh yeah, it's
Um,
like, do you breathe? You're going to hell. Well, fuck. Like,
yeah.
it's just a control tactic like any other. So just
Yeah.
not great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, one of our listeners is saying, Donica is saying, I was floored when bishops asked for more deets, but then I realized it was a pattern and
Hmm.
assumed it was normal because it's done in love, right? And this is why we have such like kind of it's like codified grooming behavior, which is so problematic. And to your
Yep.
point, I'm like, these are abusive things that are happening with people who don't recognize that what they're doing is abusive because they're
Oh, I think he did
oh,
mine, but
yes,
not all
perpetrators.
do.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying the men who we would
Yeah.
say are just kind of like doing their job. They don't. I'm like, well, you're being asked to do something that is actually very problematic in regards
Should be
to
illegal. Yeah.
how we see appropriate power dynamics, especially between teens and grown men.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
I'm so sorry that happened.
Okay, EMDR helped me process it, and I'm really good with it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go from being a masturbatory child, which I was one as well.
Hopefully all of us were. I
A
mean,
lot, yeah,
statistically.
a lot of similar themes, right? Like wondering, thinking, not even knowing that this was a bad thing. Then all of a sudden you're starting to get like
Yeah.
messages and not quite sure what people are talking about. Is this what I'm doing? And am I doing something wrong? To the point that I actually, when I went to BYU, I wrote a paper on this because I
No
just wanted to
way.
figure out whether or not I was normal. Like, do girls masturbate?
Wait, this is amazing. I am so impressed that you did that. And I'm sorry, but that just like speaks volumes to your open-mindedness. Like, I felt like I did feel like the only one of girls. that did it.
Right.
I was like, yeah, guys do this, like blah blah blah, but
Right.
like I did think I was the only girl who did this because
Yes.
like the isolation and stuff. But that's so cool that you wrote a paper. Did you do research? Did you read?
Yes.
Oh my God, this is great. At BYU.
Right. At BYU, which, I could feign that it was just an interest of mine when really
No, I can't believe they
it
let
was,
you. Did you publish it?
no,
Or
it was just for like an English psychology class,
you
right?
steal
And
my
so,
heart.
I
I
mean, I
love
have
it.
it. I've kept it all these years. I have it.
Okay, Patreon, Natasha reads her paper from BYU about masturbation. Please, God, yes.
If you
We
want
need,
to,
we
if
need
you want
it.
to, 19-year-old Natasha's take on masturbation.
So
But I
good.
was,
Oh
I
my
was
God. How did
literally
you run these
really,
surveys? Like, were they anonymous? Because I'm sure
no, it
no.
wasn't surveys. I
Oh,
wasn't doing
okay.
research like asking. I was
Cool.
just doing research like, is this a normal thing? I
Yeah.
didn't know. I didn't know any, like you're saying, I didn't know anything about masturbation. And so
Yeah.
I did this, and this was back before we had the internet, right? So you have to go
Mhm.
and you have to get
Yeah.
the little library cards for all the books. I had to go and ask for things that were behind closed
Yeah, curtains. Let's like
doors.
rated R section in
Yes.
a blockbuster, except
Yes,
these
I
are
went with all of
normal
my little
scientific.
resources and handed them to this young man who was probably my same age, because he was working behind the library desk. And he was like, and I was like,
Oh my God. Yeah.
I
You're
was
like,
so
and a
embarrassed.
box of tampons, please, and some condoms. Thank you. At
That is
BYU, that is
funny.
so
Yeah.
embarrassing.
So, but I found out that actually, yes, babies touch their bodies, toddlers touch their bodies,
Hmm.
girls and boys and non-binary. Oh, no, we weren't talking about
Yeah.
non-binary people back then, but everybody touches their bodies.
Yeah. I genuinely
Oh,
feel like, well, first of all, you had the character to even let yourself go there, which is impressive. But like this to me feels like the foundation of your entire career and who you are
I
today.
know. Who would have known?
Like you figured it out, what you're doing was normal so much earlier than so many Mormons. Then you're also going into mental health, and it's like you already know, and you're not trying to push these false narratives about sexuality. That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
good
I
foundation
wouldn't say
story.
that at that age I necessarily was able to deconstruct it from sin, but at least
Fair.
I could deconstruct it from the perspective that I wasn't a freak, kind of like, because to your point, and I hear this a lot from women who were
Yeah.
sexual or looked at porn or masturbated. It's like they thought they were the freaks because it
Yes.
seems like
Yeah,
only the boys have these problems.
exactly.
So that's a very, very common.
And like the boys are being so like run down in talks and stuff, which that's a whole other topic, right? Of their shame. But like then when you're like, oh my God, I'm like a boy, what the fuck's wrong with me? Like yeah. Because like they're held to this
Something
super high standard. And anyway, yeah.
I already didn't meet the criteria of a righteous woman. I was not quiet. I laughed too loud. I was a talker. I interrupted I was always being told to shush in Sunday school or whatever. And so I was already not the pristine, quiet, kind, soft, kind of personification that we have of a righteous young woman, growing up to be a righteous mother. And then add the
Mhm.
sexual component, it's like I'm freaking out of control, right? I
You
can't.
are. You're basically going straight to hell in a handbasket.
That we can laugh now, but I have so much pain and
I
sorrow for
know.
my younger versions of myself, right? Like
Oh,
worrying about
totally.
this
And
kind
the
of
lost years, good God, I could talk about that for hours. But
thing.
but this is a
So
fun conversation.
what gets you from being in an office with a bishop at 16 to like by your late 20s, you're deconstructing the church?
Oh, that is a good question. You can look back and you can see all those like little moments where you rebelled against I talked about this on Mormon Stories, but Yanya Lalick, fabulous ex-cult therapist and writer, she came up with a term in a book called bounded choice. And to me, that's like yeah, that's what it is. The concept that you're given just enough choice that you think that you're free, but you're not. You're being controlled by the organization. and you're like in this glass box. It's like you reach every direction, you reach a limit to how far you can go. And so I always felt my whole life like I was squashed up against squashed up against the edge of that glass box. And but that I really would not go outside that. It was like I really was like, but this is as far as I'll push it. Like with my metal music and the punk rock, or with like what I wear. I'm always going to be modest still, but I can maybe wear a cool Metallica shirt or something. Or like, just I would try to express in any way I could. I would try to be different and be myself in any way I could. But then like, I've got my entire wall was like coated in posters and cool, like interesting things. And like I was a pretty cool kid. But then I have this like shrine to Joseph Smith and Jesus in the corner, like that corner of the wall. And it just felt so normal. And it's like, maybe not so normal. But like, so I kind of always had these desires to push, and all my friends were not Mormon until I got to high school. I made a few Mormon friends, but like this desire to kind of push outside that and to just experience life as a normal Californian. And like, I'm not going to judge you. I wouldn't try to pressure you. I'd never try to convert anyone. Like, you know, and it's like cool in California to love each other for who you are. And whether it's like something as uncool as religion or not, it's like we don't, it's like all hippie. So, um, so like I had a wonderful upbringing, and like, even after that traumatic experience, it's like when I think about the next couple years of high school or whatever, like I still was a kid. And so I still what that was just one part of me in my life. And so there was a lot I still loved and enjoyed and whatever. And then like, you know, I'm just gonna group college in my 20s, because it to me is like just this overarching theme of like being in this meat market and hating it, and like not wanting to get married, not being interested in men that much, like having some relationships. I did have some good deep connections, whatever, but like, you know, feeling guilt over like any type of arousal when if we're kissing or whatever. And and then like slowly just feeling over time like this is dumber and dumber and dumber, and like this church is literally infantilizing me and is actually preventing my progress, which is supposed to be the entire plan of God for us, you know? And like I am not going anywhere. I was a temple worker and everything, so I was like super in it and righteous, but it was while I was a temple worker that I lost my testimony, and it freaked me out so much that I stopped doing that to focus on my own faith. And it turns out I was just losing my faith, and I was losing the belief that this church was actually good for young single adults. And then that just like started to expand into what are they even providing for anyone? And um
Were you a single adult when you became a temple worker?
yes,
That's
I think it
not
was like
really
46.
common, right?
Yeah.
So, and you,
No, yeah. That was part of me like my feminism and my naive belief that the church actually was a good place for women, or was a place women could even grow and thrive, was like, and I had in my mind this idea. I wasn't even like an ordained woman type of any of that, but I had this idea in my mind like, oh, but we actually do have the priesthood. We just use it in the temple only. And so I wanted to exert that priesthood and have that power and bless people. And like I loved it at first.
wow.
And then there wasn't even any concrete questions that came up during that time. It was just this sinking dread, and like it just was like becoming less true to me, and I didn't know how to control that. Because you don't choose what you believe. Yeah.
Right. So, and if I get your timeline correct, you did not marry while you were in the church,
Oh
correct?
no.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So you were a
I was in
single.
a lot of relationships with men that I ran away from when marriage started to come up. I am a queer woman. But it is hard to know if it was like the feminism or the queerness. I think it was my sexuality, honestly. And then there just was sort of this inability to like build attachment with men, and like this feeling like, would I really be able to build a life with one? I don't really know how to explain it, but I think a lot of it was just like, I'm not ready to be married yet. You don't know me. We've known each other like 4 months, and that's just that, when guys want to start talking about it in Mormonism. And so that's when I would usually cut and run. But of
Yeah.
course, I was in other situations that were unrequited. I don't want to say I was like a heartbreaker. I just felt like it all wasn't working for me. And then you
Right.
get older and it's like, oh, I thought I would be raising a family with my sister and like there's like these weird pressures that totally evaporated when I left the church, by the way. But like, yeah, I just wasn't happy. It was the only time in my life I was really suicidal, or had suicidal ideation. And I'm sorry, saying trigger warning right before that, I don't feel like helps, but like maybe at the beginning of the episode, but there really isn't anything to describe. It's just that, yeah, the church was making me miserable. Like, and I kept trying to make something work that was never going to work for me. And it really was like at the end of that I was thinking about dating and boys, and I had also been in love for years with one of my non-Mormon friends, and just was always hitting this wall of like, but we're never going to be happy if we get married. And it would be like, I would push and then he would push and then I would push and then he would push. And like, really, I had pedestalized him, and there was, I found out later, no reason to do that. But like, that was kind of, so I think toward the time I was about to leave the church, not knowing I was losing my faith, really, I was feeling more serious that I wanted to date outside the church. And the thing was like, this is how I know I was almost ready to just leave, is that I accepted and knew that that would involve sex. I just was like, I I would never ask a non-Mormon to not have sex with me. Like, it just seems crazy to me. And like, there was this thing in my head being like, and it's not healthy. Like, you wouldn't want that either. So there was like this crazy cognitive dissonance, and like the truth was winning out, thank God. Um, uh, oh yeah, any questions till now? Because then I'll just talk about my therapist who helped me get
Yeah.
there.
Well, I'd love to,
We
but
love therapists.
I'd love to hear a little bit about that. I mean, I think the word that you used earlier is one that I use often is infantilize, right?
Oh,
And it
yeah.
really, it doesn't matter if you're 15 or if you're 28 or if you're 65, if you are
Yes.
not
If you're
married,
not married, right?
you are treated like a 13-year-old.
Absolutely. And I saw that because my oldest sister, she didn't get married until she was 40, I think, and and always wanted to be married. And I think actually for me, it was almost like that gave me permission. I was like, well, as long as it's before I'm 40, it doesn't really matter. Like, she's fine. She got married, it's like, so there, I think that was a way for me to be like, I'm good. Even though it was probably rooted in other things. But yeah, so I did see that, and I saw the way ward members treated her because she was in our ward for a very long time as well. And I hated it. I never wanted to be that person either. Yeah. It's just
Right, right. So you were in some way or another, you were figuring out that what the church was asking you to do was really having a direct effect on arresting your sexual development as a human. And I do think that
And
yes,
I made the connection between sexual development and human development.
tell me
It's brain, body, spirit, mind, it's all connected, and you cannot hold in your sexuality without stunting and harming other parts of yourself.
I am so glad you said that, right? Because we tend to like compartmentalize aspects of ourselves, and we know more and more that we are holistic.
Uh,
Every aspect of ourselves
and
impacts
that
other
fractured
aspect of ourselves.
Yeah, that idea of fractured sexuality is so prevalent in Mormonism before and after people leave the church. And that's why I want to talk about it. Like, it is not in a silo at all. And it's a huge part of our relationship with self and our relationship with others and our relationship and view of the world and our joy. And I mean, I could list 1,000 things, but yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if this is a sidebar or not, but I found that shame was the hardest thing to heal, even after like EMDR was so powerful in so many ways and healed everything else, literally. And I just like, and it wasn't even necessarily sexual shame, but shame itself is in my opinion, the hardest thing to heal. And it's so deeply ingrained in our like survival instincts and need to fit in order to live that it's just the most fucked up thing. I fucking hate it. And that's why I'm like, give me a box of shame. I will just light the little dynamite, stick it in, and go woo over the bridge. That is like my goal in life for everyone. I just radically want to smash these, like the pain that we cause for ourselves and others and the judgment just based out of stupid shame.
Yes. Yes.
Let me tell you how I really feel.
My whole practice, sadly, depends on helping people recover from shame, and I'm happy to do
That's
that work.
common for sex therapists, even outside Mormon circles too.
Yeah, exactly. So what did you find helpful? I mean, I'm kind of in that situation where I feel like shame is just part of like it's a trauma for me. And so I feel like with other traumas, it will probably always be there a little bit for me. I just know how to manage it better and how to recognize it, put it in its place. But I'm not sure it's something that will ever completely go away.
I wonder about that too. My shame now isn't sexual. It's usually based on when someone misunderstands me and like thinks I'm a bad person. But that's totally Mormon, yo. Like that's such a Mormon woman thing. But there's a lot of things that have helped. So first of all, I just love talking about sex. Yeah. And it's like fun. So I have a sex therapist. She's phenomenal. I love her so much. By the way, sex therapists are phenomenal therapists for all the other things in life too. And I think it's because everything is connected. And this is such an essential thing for humans and often such a pain point for them that I really feel like I mean, it's probably the most powerful type of therapy. But like, just I was telling her about just fun experience I had with a lot of sex toys, and I was just like, God, life is so great without shame. And she was like, yes. And we just laughed over it for like 30 seconds because, oh my God, it's just joyful. It's joyful to live that way.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, talking about it because, hello, obviously, like the whole point is of shame is like it's in the shadows, it's hidden, it's like eating you from the inside, whatever. And if you talk about it, and we were talking about the whole isolated thing, am I the only woman who masturbates? Well, now the whole world knows, no, you're not. Like, and I do love being an open book about this stuff. Like, even on Mormon stories, it was like, way TMI. And I'm like, fuck it. If I don't do this, people feel alone. And other people have healed me from my aloneness, and I want to just do the same, it's a beautiful, and it's like this shared experience. It's humanity. It's these shared experiences are what make us humanity. So
Yeah.
I like talking.
Well, I love that. And I think another thing, a component that you've added there is not just the talk, it's the humor, being able to laugh, being able to
Being able to be silly. Yeah.
right. And then the last part I'll put in there is I think practice, right? I mean,
Yeah.
sexual
I'm
education.
gonna get there next.
Yeah. It's like Sex Education, I think, is the show where they sang the song that's like "fuck the pain away," and I'm
Yes.
like, "Fuck
Oh my
the
God.
shame away, fuck the
Yes.
shame away." It's
I
actually
I
putting
say
our
it that
body
way.
on the line.
Oh my God.
Practice.
Okay. There's so many things I want to show you right now, but in my little design shop, I mean, there's so many things, but like, first of all, I love that show so much. And I really feel like that musical should be the new Rocky Horror. Like, I would pay to see, I want to see it every year. I want to go see that live every year. So somebody please speak to the Peaches, right? Isn't the Multi Peaches, aren't they the ones that are, no, who is it that sings that song? Anyway, get the copyright, bring it to Salt Lake City. I swear you will have a full house every year. But yeah, fuck the shame away. I have a sticker that says shame equals silence equals death. Because to me, that's like the component that's missing in that conversation where it's like, what is it that causes people to be silent about like STDs and about other people's pain when it's sexually based. It's
Mhm.
shame. And you're then putting your shame on someone else, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
I've made one of my practices is to never take on someone else's shame. I'm like, nope, gonna hand that right back to you. Not gonna be accountable for that. And that does take practice. That's why I call it a practice. It's like yoga.
I agree. Miriam says shame has been my nemesis too, right? So, and then Joe says, I also love talking about sex. One of the things that's frustrating
Yay.
that
Oh,
people
sorry.
is that people almost always think that talking about sex is just meant to be arousing. And yeah, no, it's like it should be as
It
easy
can
as
be too, but
that. It can be.
love if everyone
It
who
doesn't
listens to
have
this
to
was
be the
aroused.
intent. It doesn't have to be the intent, right? To talk
Yeah.
about. Yeah, exactly.
Well, not yet, but after this point, when we talk about sex toys, please everyone get aroused if you want to. I give you permission.
Right. And I love that because it's like it doesn't have to be the intent and it's not a bad thing if it happens. It's almost
Exactly.
every time I present on sex, I tell everybody just the fact that we're talking about sex might be arousing. Doesn't
Exactly. Especially if
necessarily
you're like repressed, then it absolutely is.
right, because
I
then
got
you're
turned
like,
on by a
oh,
fucking troll butt once when I was a kid. That, you know what? Just own it.
okay, so let's dive into the sex toy part, right? Because
Yeah,
you
this might be
um
an essential, like, because, okay, let's get into it. Right when I like left Mormonism, I got into a relationship with a non-Mormon man and I had sex for the first time. And it was a little lackluster, I'll say, but I hope he doesn't hear this because I adore him to this day. But like, um,
a
I
lot
just
of first time sex is a little lackluster. I mean, you're
years
getting
of
to know
2 years
people.
of sex, I don't know.
Oh, 2 years. Okay. Okay.
But
I was gonna
But
say
to be fair, yeah, whatever. I could have, I try not to like overdefine all the things and like try to figure out all the reasons for everything, but I don't know if I was getting that much out of it, we'll say. But just exploring my sexuality, like in any context, was life-changing and wonderful. So there was that. But right, like I feel like a few months into this, I had been talking to this girl and we were really good friends, and she was like inactive but not ex-Mormon. And so it was like neither of us had really, so she was kind of like the Jack Mormon who's doing the things. And then I was like the perfect Molly Mormon who then like went a radical 180. And then we just had so much to talk about. And she sent me a link. She was like, have you tried sex toys? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, actually, I haven't ever tried any. So tell me what you know. And she sent me a link to Good Vibes. They're based in San Francisco. They're awesome. They're probably my favorite sex toy shop. And then there's one called Wet for Her that I love as well. And it's a little more queer and inclusive. I mean, they're both inclusive, but it's a fun one as well. And so she sent me this link, and she was just sending it for the whole store, but I thought she was sending me the specific toy, and it was like the freaking magic wand that's like this big. Here's an example of a smaller one. I just got it in all sizes because I found out they have a mini and a micro. The micro's like this big, and I couldn't find it before I left, but it's so cute. Anyway, so imagine
I'm gonna
my,
have to go ahead and because a lot of people will be listening to this without seeing us on YouTube. So
oh yeah, let me
a little
explain.
bit of describing as well. Yes. So the magic
Okay,
wand, which is
so
by the
there's a lot of different types of sex toys, and one of the categories that's really it's one of the set apart categories is wands. And so what this looks like is if you've watched Black Mirror and you've seen the one with Miley Cyrus, it looks like her little doll that is like her, or it looks like Wally kind of, I don't know. It's basically a wand with a little head at the top.
it's
And the
almost like
head,
it's almost like a microphone, right?
yes, that's a much better description.
But with the top part kind of being different, a little bit more
Soft and silicone and
yes.
like round. A microphone with a round head.
Yes.
Um, and it's flexible, so it's able to give off really strong vibrations and just in the head part. So you basically put it on your clit or whatever, or wherever you want. If they're trying to be super PC, like a store would call it a personal massager. So think, Mad Men, Elizabeth Holmes, right? She's like,
Well, and I think the
alpha.
original magic wand, I think, was a back massager, and then they
They're like,
it got repurposed real
we
quick.
see a demographic buying these. So I get this wand, but it's like, if I'm trying to think, it's like the length of my whole arm, like from the elbow down. And I was like, this is what sex toys are? Like, I just literally burst out laughing, and I like sent a picture to her immediately. And I was like, what the fuck? This thing is huge. And she was like, oh, I didn't mean for you to buy that exact thing. But to this day, that thing is the most powerful sex toy, the most powerful vibrator I've ever used, and I can come in like 20 seconds or less with that thing.
Yeah.
It's
No,
still the
I
strongest.
would
The
agree.
big one.
A magic wand is very, very effective, and
Sorry to start with the most effective one,
I
but
love it. I love it, and it's and you can place it up against your clitoris. You can
Mhm.
layer
Move
it,
it around your vulva.
your vulval lips. You can
That whole,
it
so
like
many good. Yeah.
internal thighs. Some people do like them
Mhm.
on their other
Yes.
erotic zones, like breasts or nipples. Men also like vibrations. Against.
Well, I have a lot of options, so that's
So
just one of the many vibrators. Yeah. So that was my foray into sex toys. And for a while, I had like, I think a shame response to using it. So there there were a couple like maybe reasons for that beyond just oh, it's related to sexuality. I think it was like, no, again, no one had educated me about sex, right? And I'm learning now everything from my boyfriend. And maybe you don't want to learn everything about sex from a boy when you're a girl, and maybe not from one boy. So, uh, I was missing out on things. And I also, one of the shame responses was like, oh, but it's supposed to be like, you're supposed to be having sex if you're having pleasure. And another thing was, oh, if I use this too much, then I won't be able to come in a normal situation or
Mhm.
something, which I believe can be true, just in the nature of, and like the more you come, maybe the less you need to come, So it's like, so I could have orgasms as a celibate Mormon in my dreams, and boy, do we miss those days, right? But it's like, but it's not, you don't have to be extreme about it. It's not going to actually prevent pleasure in a future experience. That's not how it works, It's like sometimes you give your body a little more time to ramp up, but you still can have plenty of great pleasure using sex toys several times a week, So,
Yeah. Yeah. So
but
let's
yeah,
pause here for a minute, because
yeah, yeah,
I do think there are some misconceptions, or what,
yeah.
what kinds of messages did we get about sex toys? And I would say I don't think we got a lot of messages about sex,
Any,
because
except I think it was because it was just a one-to-one with masturbation. So it's like you don't do it. And I didn't even believe married couples could use sex toys at all together. I was like, that's forbidden,
right,
you know?
right. I think a lot of the things happen kind of in this shadow of, what do these terms mean, right? Because even it's not like when we get married, then there's like, oh, now we're going to offer you the LDS comprehensive sexual guide class, where we're going to teach you how to have good sex. That doesn't exist for
It's
adults.
like, no, it's like celibate, 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 thrown to the wolves. Good luck.
Right.
Hope you
And
like it.
there's a lot of emphasis on having holy sex and natural sex, right? And
Can't even.
wholesome sex, right?
So triggering.
So all those words feel like, oh, this is not natural. This is not something, this
Mm-hmm.
this might take
And
us away from each other, even maritally, right?
absolutely, it can be viewed as cheating sometimes in religious settings, and it's viewed as what was I gonna say? Yeah, like dirty, wrong, and almost like again a one to one with pornography or whatever. Yeah.
And almost like this, like, well, if we have the celestial type of relationship, and we have the best marriage. We don't need these things that, we should be enough for each other is kind of the message I think
Or
sometimes people
if
get.
you take that one man who's like, I've never even seen my wife naked, and everyone's like, and it's like, so for him, it's literally a utility. There
Mhm.
is no love, joy, connection. Like it's a utility. It's not even sexual. It's
Wow.
maybe a utility to have children.
Wow.
So that's so sad.
And I do think that for heterosexual couples, oftentimes the male can feel threatened by the sex toy, like somehow
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
with his penis, right? Or something. And also if you're the female, to your point, you can be worried like, oh, am I going to become dependent on this in order to reach orgasm, or am I gonna? So there's a lot of these misconceptions. And I'll just give my little sex therapy take to what you were trying to say. It's not that you become dependent, like you can't ever have an orgasm without a sex toy if you learn how to have one with a sex toy. But most of us have a few ways that we trend to have an orgasm. And if you feel like, okay, this is the only way I typically get to that point, you can basically stop doing it that way. And within usually about 6 to 8 weeks, your body acclimates to a different way. So it's not this dependent, it's never ending. And I will say, who cares if that's the only way you orgasm? Like as long as you're
If
happy.
you're like single too, like, and you want to have an orgasm every night, this is my case. Like, who the fuck cares? I love
How
it.
you're reaching it, as long as it's either fun. And if you're in a relationship, it's relational. You can have a relational
You can
orgasm
all, yeah, you also
with a
can.
sex toy on board. So
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
absolutely right. Okay. All right. So you're noticing that as you're starting to use these, especially at first, there is a shame download. Like, ooh,
Yep.
this feels yucky or dirty or naughty.
Or
And
like something I want to hide, something I wouldn't want people to know about. Even like my boyfriend was pretty chill, but like would he, cause I do feel like he maybe made a comment once or twice, like, what if it makes it like harder? I don't know, whatever. And so I think there was this like, this is my secret thing, which great, it can and maybe should be, but it's like, I also just like, it took me time to realize, wait, this is sexy and fun, and I want to share this with people that I am into, and I can expand this so that we can have fun together with this. And just over time, like you said, practice. I just got less ashamed. And especially again, talking about it with partners a lot is just like, okay, this can be normal. This can be fun. Like you're on board. And I love to buy toys for partners. Like when I buy toys, I like usually have someone in mind and it really turns me on. And that's another thing, by the way. It's fun. It's really fun. And it's like, it's very sexy just to look at toys or maybe even together or like shopping for someone you love, whatever, it's hot. So, or yourself, obviously. I'm my
yeah.
number one sex toy person, but
Okay, so we covered the magic wand. What else do you have in your little toy
oh God,
toolbox?
so many things. Okay, I did want to like do a little due diligence though before we like get too deep in it. Like keep your toys clean. Like always wash your toys. There's a lot of really good cleaner out there. There's one, my favorite's called Toy Life, but this one's smaller, so I brought it. But like the foaming ones are my favorite ones, and I usually clean them really thoroughly once, and then I clean them again twice, and then a third time just for good measure. So
And
never
do you
use dirty
want to
toys.
share why?
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Hygiene is important, really important. You can get STDs, uh you can get pregnant. I know if you're not in certain situations, if you're not protecting yourself. And also like you don't want to mix toys between your anus and your vagina, whatever. There's a lot of bacteria that lives in both areas. Don't want to be combining that. And sex toys are expensive, so like don't throw your sex toys away just because you change partners, unless you really want to. But anyone who tells you you have to, I think, has a jealousy issue. But like, I think these toys are so expensive, like you should just be taking care of them, and maintaining them. So Yeah, but mostly cleanliness for your health, for your partner's health. Yeah. Do you want to add anything?
It helps avoid yeast infections, UTIs, like, you just, and especially if you are doing anal and vaginal play, it's just good to, not combine
For oral, yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
so
Wash in between
like
every
we're supposed to have bacteria in our bodies, right? So it doesn't mean those parts of us are dirty, but like anything, it just, like you say, good hygiene goes a long way.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, not that I want to shame anybody's response, but I don't know why you'd want to make, tie a sex toy to a certain partner. I mean, like, I wouldn't buy a whole new bed if I changed
I think
partners.
I have dated girls who are like, I would never use the sex toy you used with another partner. And so sometimes it happens, but I'm like, what a waste.
Yeah.
Things get discontinued. But I'm gonna throw them
but I would encourage people to be more flexible as they can be. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to having fun with it and the open-mindedness. And like, I think if you start at that place, you're not going to have an issue with like the play you're doing with your partner or partners.
And I think to say that you're not getting paid by any of these companies to.
Oh my God. I am totally not sponsored by anyone. And I've never been sponsored by anyone in my life, I don't think, for anything. So
not that there's anything wrong if you would.
There's nothing.
There's not that dual relationship.
I have zero bias in not getting paid. So these are just things I like. And it helps people to have like maybe an actual thing to go to as a basis, if they're like, I have no idea where to start. So yeah. But by the way, also all of these things, there's multiple versions, multiple brands, these are more like categories to me. So keep that in mind too. Douching can be important for anal play. It's not totally necessary, but if you want to clean out your asshole a bit and aren't doing it naturally with fiber and whatever and timing, then this is a great option. Basically, you fill it with water and you shoot it up your asshole and then you wait for things to come out. It's better for sex than maybe saline, which is for actual constipation, but again, optional, but just can keep things a little cleaner. And since you are going to be exploring the anus during anal play, it can create a mess, which again is not necessarily dirty, but it's just can be kind of nice to have it a bit cleaner. So, and then obviously safety and consent with all partners, and toys they can cause pain. So always be asking as you're playing with toys, and keep in mind like over and over and over your partner's or even your own pain point, pleasure point. Yeah.
Yes.
And start with all
I would definitely add there is definitely not a need to do anal douching. That is a personal preference.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that, and I do see, especially a lot of men in the gay community, this seems to be very important. I don't see it as much in heterosexual women offering anal sex to a heterosexual partner. And then I think lesbians kind of are everywhere in between. Right. And so I think, I think obviously
it's not needed. It's a preference. Yeah.
It's a preference. And
it is an option. And you might hear partners talk about it.
Yes. And I do want to just state too that the anus, just like the vagina, they are kind of self-cleaning machines, so we don't carry feces in the anus. We carry feces in the digestive tract, which then passes through the anus. But then, so yes, I think that sometimes people can get squeamish about, the aspects of the body that maybe are not as pleasant for us to think about, but it is. Yeah. So anyway,
they can be pleasant.
Yeah. Some people, there's scat play, and people have, arousal around feces as well. So those are different fetishes and kinks that people may enjoy, and that's okay. So I just want to say it's not necessary. And if we get a little bit more comfortable with how our bodies are just bodies sometimes, because anal douching can also take some time and preparation.
It can. Yeah, there's that. And also none of this
at the moment.
Like I'm not going to be doing exhaustive explanations of anything, but there's great YouTube videos on all of these things and good books on safety and health and all that stuff too. But yes, add all of the good, things.
Okay. All right.
Obviously, make sure your toys are safe for body, and lubricant is great, water-based or silicone-based. There is some idea that silicone-based lubricants can break down silicone toys a little bit easier because they're both sticky, but like it's not going to actually harm your body either. That's the general consensus, right? Would you say? Okay. So yeah, I don't know. And check if your toys are waterproof or not. I just wanted to do a little bit of those due diligences too, because, you know. Okay.
What do you have next?
All right. So where do I want to go next? There's just so many options. Okay. One of my favorite vibrators is this little lipstick because it's very incognito. So it just goes in here and then
It
you
looks
can't
like a
really,
lipstick for those
it
who are
does look,
listening.
oh yeah, it looks like a little lipstick, but it's actually a vibrator. So it's something you can keep in your purse and nobody would even know, even if they looked in your purse.
Okay, so it's a smaller kind of version of what the wand does, and then you can use that to put it up against your clit or your vulva or wherever it feels good.
Yeah, I might like do all the vibrators. So this was one I really wanted to showcase. It's called a Vibe Pad. And it's basically a pad that usually a woman can straddle with her vulva, and it has raised mounds that vibrate.
Okay, so it
And
looks like an amoeba for those of you who are listening. It looks like a big plastic amoeba that's probably about the size of like your entire chest area,
forearm.
right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about like a foot long or something like that. And then so you're saying you can place that on the bed.
Or whatever surface.
It has raised mounds that you can grind yourself up against
Yeah.
and they vibrate.
Yeah, so it's great for grinding. One reason I brought this up, my ex-girlfriend was postmenopausal, and it can take a little longer to orgasm when you're postmenopausal. And the way she got off was grinding only, like on my pelvis. I will say that can be really painful after a while and can be bruising. And I had this, and we played with it, and it was so pleasurable for both of us because she could grind and be with me, connected with me still. And I could get the pleasure of the vibration, and she was also. So I thought it was a really great shared toy. And I highly recommend it. Yeah.
So you don't just put it on the bed, you can put it on the other person's
Yeah.
body.
You can put it somewhere on the other person's body, and now you're having sex together, and whatever else you're able to do and touch, but you have this something you can grind on that also vibrates, which is hot.
I love that one.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on these?
The what?
Any
No, I think that I guess I want to say grinding is one of the most effective ways for the female body to experience orgasm.
Yes.
We're still trying to
Preach.
understand that intercourse is how you're supposed to have an orgasm, right? And I still have women who will come in and say, well, teach me how to have a real orgasm. And what they're meaning by real is through intercourse. And I'm like, that is not
meaning penis and vagina intercourse. Yeah.
penis and vagina. And I'm like, I mean, it's first of all, it's not an effective way for females to orgasm. About 25%.
I don't even like it that much. I mean, I do, but like, yeah, it's not ever something that leads to orgasm for me. Maybe twice in my whole life. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like one of those was with a toy too. So who cares? Yeah.
So there's no real way to orgasm.
No.
All orgasms are real.
All orgasms are gorgeous and we love them. Yay.
Yes. So grinding is very effective. So, and yes, you're right. A lot of people will grind up against their partner's hip bone or their leg, and that can become a little bit difficult over time, to keep that type of pressure on that other person's body part. So,
so something that you can maybe place in between while still allowing the other person their pleasure is great. So,
yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Okay. We've got like other types of vibrators you can insert, and some of them are even bendable. So you can get right up in there. Maybe there's other parts inside. Maybe you want to reach back to, I guess, the wall. I don't know anything about anatomy, but the wall of your anus, maybe from the other side. And there's just like a lot of pleasure that can be found from inside the vulva. This one is a long and skinny shaped one that is small enough to fit inside. the vulva, or even the asshole. But that's
Meaning inside the vagina.
sorry, yeah, inside the vagina,
That's
all the
fine.
way up.
Yeah, because well, and for people who, I mean, we've heard of the G spot, right? Which I just want to say the G spot is not an anatomical part. What it is this area where your clitoris bulbs, right? Because we now know that the clitoris is quite large inside of your body, where those bulbs are most close to your vaginal sheath, the vaginal wall. That is an especially yummy space, right?
Love that space.
For to be stimulated, and that's what's called the G spot, right? So it's not like you can do an anatomical autopsy and find something
Right.
G spot, but it's where that space rubs up the most. And so these vibrators that have the inserting space, things can really rub up against that spot very nicely.
And actually, this might be a good time to bring up, like, I probably could have brought a better example, but there are toys that you can insert into more than one place, or you can insert in one place and then also vibrate on the surface, or you can use two toys to do that if you want, or three.
What he's holding up right now is, it almost looks like a horseshoe shape, where you can see that one side is probably either meant to go into the
Or
vagina
a cursive N on its side.
okay. Yeah, and so one part can go inside the vagina while the other part lays up against the clitoris and vibrates. Or you could also do anal play and vaginal play with those as well. So it's like a U-shaped, type of, and yeah.
Yeah, I just think we're so lucky to have multiple places of stimulation. What a great world. So this is like a pretty new model, and I was really excited to find it because I do like multiple places stimulated. So yeah. Okay. And I do not know where the one I most commonly use has kind of a forked, I'll just describe it because I don't have it with me, is like it's like uh it's like one of the egg vibrators that are shaped like eggs for surface touching, but it's then forked into two so that you can straddle the clitoris. That's probably my favorite go-to. It's really, really good. Yeah. So.
And are you going to show dildos as well?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go there next.
So
that last one you showed with that goes up inside the vagina could be considered.
So for one thing, the anus, you also please correct me, you're the actual expert. I'm just like talking from experience. The anus can be small and needs to be stretched out a little bit for safety and comfort. The anus can tear easily, which can mean more serious STDs can be passed on through blood. PrEP, shout out for PrEP as well. If you're having sex with anyone who might be having sex with anyone who might be positive for HIV, PrEP is awesome. It's a medication that makes HIV undetectable. Look it up if you're considering it. So
it's a medication that actually helps you not contract HIV.
Okay.
It's very, very effective. Now, if you do have HIV, there are medications now that they'll treat you with that are so effective that it makes it undetectable. That's how far we've come in HIV treatment, which is phenomenal, right? So that's really lovely.
Yeah.
And I think anal play, like I think a lot of times there's a misconception that, especially with heterosexual women, that anal play is only for the pleasure of a man, and he's just trying to your anus. And, yeah, please.
I think every human could potentially just completely fall in love with anal. That's what I'll say. I love anal. I know all kinds of people who love anal, and it is definitely not just a queer thing, and it's definitely not just for queer men. So,
or even heterosexual men with women. I mean, I always like to say the anus is not gendered.
Absolutely, that's why it's so great. Like, I have one of the brands here, their whole slogan is anal is magic. And I feel that way so strongly. No shame. There should be no shame around it. It's wonderful. And people should be safe to ask their partners to explore it if they want to. And yeah, obviously with the consent thing also, like, no one has to experiment with anal, but I'm just recommending it.
Yeah,
So,
I really enjoyed getting to know my anal capacities as well. And I would say my, the intensity of orgasm
oh
is
my God.
different. It's completely different. It's very, and it is a skill set. It's not as easy as vaginal penetration, obviously, and it has to be really done in a way that offers the bottom, right? The person who's offering the anus, the most power, because you do not want it to be a painful experience. And if it's painful, then it's not
Yeah.
correct, unless you're
And I
wanting
will
some type
say,
of, but I'm talking about, yeah.
yeah. And I don't even really enjoy anal sex that's like penetrative. I prefer toys, 100%. But I love anal stimulation. And anyway, that leads us to starting small. So
Yeah.
there's really cute, this one's a heart. This is a butt plug, I would say, or a dildo. And it's the smallest of a 3-piece training set to sort of slowly stretch your asshole out. And like seriously, this one's tiny. Start this small. Like you don't want to start any bigger than that, I would say, if you've never done anything. It's like the size of a finger or less even. So
I would say
um,
the size of it like a small tampon. And it's
yeah,
also what I want to make sure people understand that's different between vaginal toys and anal toys is that it has a
a base
base,
to
because
prevent it from going further in.
yes, the anus will contract things into it in a way that you can't get it out. And so you need to have something that will stop whatever toy is going inside of it from just being able to be sucked in. So
And some toys have a ring on the end. Some toys have a bigger base, which also can allow you to insert it into a strap-on set. And others have, yeah, I have this delightful set of anal beads that is vibrating and could also be considered a dildo with multiple sizes. So you can insert one little bit at a time as somebody is comfortable or can fit it. There's like a good handle on the end as well. Yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly.
So, yep, that's another one. You can get any type of anal beads, vibrating, not vibrating. They start small, some like usually very small, and then get larger so that you can kind of go in one little step at a time.
Yeah.
Would you
So
say
the
anything else
choice
about
he's
that?
holding up right now looks like a wand, like a Harry Potter wand, but with little beads almost that get a little bit larger as the wand go down.
And something really nice, this actually I use on my clit as well because it's just a great vibrator. By the way, all your vibrators you can also use anywhere you want. Um, but the nice thing about the anus is that there is a stretch when you put something in that then closes back. So when you have these larger beads with a valley in between, it's like you can insert it and then it will sit there nicely so that you're feeling this pleasure without necessarily even having to hold it in there. But that's like a fun thing about the anus. And that probably leads me to this beauty. There's just so many great things but
So
what is
this
this
is
called
a
again?
similar one to
Yeah.
the one you showed before, except for instead of it looking like a straight wand, it's a curved wand.
And it's solid sterling silver, so it's heavy, which, by the way, weight is a very sensual thing that can increase pleasure in different areas of your body. And so, yeah, um, there's a word for this. What is this one called?
Other than a butt plug.
I guess it's like a butt plug. I think of more as I have one here, specific shape. I do feel like this has, oh, maybe these are just called sterling, like silver anal beads, you know?
Mm,
Yeah. But it's solid. It does have a handle at the base. And again, it has these peaks and valleys where it can, like, as depending on the size or how stretched out somebody's asshole is, you can sort of insert it one at a time as it's comfortable. Using a lot of lube, by the way, lube, 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 so much lube when you're doing anal. And it's really
there are actually special lubes for anal
yes.
sex. They're a little bit more, yeah.
I have some here too. And again, I'm not sponsored at all, but Uberlube is my favorite probably, and it's a really classy bottle. Um, by the way, there's also a CBD oil that you can get shipped to all 50 states, so it's not considered whatever, but maybe don't bring it to Russia. But yeah, CBD oil is also great.
Okay. Looking
Specific
at the
lubricant.
names,
Yeah.
we've got anal chains, beaded butt plugs, beaded anal dildos, anal trainers, prostate massagers. So you can see that a lot of these have a lot of different names that
Yeah.
go by.
Okay, I'm like also, so here's a butt plug, a fun one I thought I would bring. It's a unicorn tail butt plug.
Oh, how cute.
How cute is that? I have not used this before, but it's really cute and it's very gay and like I just love it. So you
So
can
what you're
find butt
looking
plugs
at
with
here,
tails.
yeah, it's a regular butt plug in queer colors, fun queer colors, rainbow colors, with a unicorn uh, kind of
Really unicorn
yeah,
tail.
tail at the end attached to the base. So once you insert that, it might look like you have a unicorn tail.
Exactly. And you don't need to strap it around your waist or anything. It's just right there where the tail would be. But yeah, this is the shape of a butt plug. So again, there are training sets that have different sizes. They could go from really, really slim to bigger, but you can see like this is the same idea where once you insert it, then the hole can close back over it and hold it in there. And then meanwhile, you're just feeling all this pleasure from the pressure that these points apply inside your anus. It's great. Yeah. And then you can be doing other things like giving a blowjob or masturbating yourself or whatever and all kinds of other things. But then it's like just this continuous pleasure. So
Yeah.
yeah. Any other thoughts about butt plugs?
No, I think they're
You don't
great.
have to get them with a tail. I'll tell you that. That is optional.
They vary in size, they vary in depth, they vary whether they vibrate or not. And so you can find a lot of different things. And to your point, a lot of times people don't understand that although anal sex can be of a thrusting nature, it
Oh,
doesn't have to be thrusting, right?
that's what I
That's what
want.
these
Yeah.
butt plugs are about. They're not really about offering thrusting, they're offering pressure and
Mhm.
a fullness sensation.
Stimulation.
And when you're
Ooh,
doing other
the
things,
fullness.
including even vaginal penetration through digital or through a penis or through a dildo, it adds to the sensation and to the stimulation that's happening in that whole pelvic floor region. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm
queen.
trying to give the clinical explanations here.
I just really hope that like I don't know, listeners who just have been like too scared to explore it are just like, I'm going right now to the
Yeah,
section.
right. Well, and I will
We
say
can talk
too,
about shopping after
some,
too.
there are some bodies where anal insertion is probably not possible, especially if you
Oh
have
yeah.
like
And
hemorrhoids.
vaginal. Like, yeah.
Right. But even anal rimming, just taking a finger or a tongue
Right.
or
Yeah.
a toy and just, having some pressure around that anal area and that perineum area, right? Between like the vaginal opening or, between the testicles and the
Mhm.
anal. That
Yes.
skin is so sensitive and yummy to play with. So
Agreed.
you don't have to have penetrative anal sex to still enjoy what we would deem part of anal play.
Exactly. But you can if you want to. So this is just one pair of strap-on underwear. It's like shaped like underwear, but you can get sexy leather strap-ons. You can get thong strap-ons. You can get all kinds of strap-ons. But there's a little hole like right around where your mound would be, or where a real dick would be. And you could say that strap-ons are real dicks too. So yeah, there's a place where you can insert a dildo and like this one, maybe a pegging dildo or maybe a larger dildo. I didn't actually bring any realistic dicks with me, but there's a whole array of those out there too. So you essentially insert your dildo into the underwear and then you put it on and you have a little dick you can play with and you can thrust with that if you want, or your partner can explore with oral sex. That can be a turn on with a strap on. Um, again, sucking while you're doing other stuff. This hole is a little big for this dildo, but I've never used these two together. And also like putting on a strap on, there can be like a phantom limb sensation if your partner plays with your cock for all intents and purposes. That's kind of fascinating, where you can actually feel like you do have a full limb and you're feeling the end of it being played with, even though you're not. So that's like crazy and really cool to explore. And obviously, like for queer individuals, non-binary or trans or lesbians, like there's a lot of good play that can happen with strap-ons and like so many fun things to explore there. And it can be like a real sensation, you know. There's also packing dildos that can be, you know, they're just like the cock and balls when they're soft that can allow a lot of just gender euphoria and affirmation. So there's just so many things that can happen with a strap on. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
like you can get ones that are open or closed, whatever you want. Highly
Yes.
recommend. They're a fun piece of lingerie to check out too. So
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got another comment from Joe saying the ones
we
that look,
love Joe.
I know we look, the ones that look like panties are super cute, but a lot of people prefer the ones with actual straps for the security of the fit. So yeah,
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
play around with lots of different options.
My favorite one is a leather. It's like pretty simple, but it's very sexy and it's just leather, but like the ring is just tight enough to keep everything, you know, bundled in. But yeah, there's ones with more straps and like more support so actual thrusting doesn't dislodge anything. But
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say about strap-ons?
No, I think they're fun. They're great. They can help people with from everything from preference to just, you know, people who don't have a penis but want to play with a penis type,
Mhm.
you know.
Men who want to explore maybe a little bit of their sexuality or like the expression of that and the feeling of that.
And it's
Yeah.
also really great for people with certain disabilities.
Mhm.
And so it can be used kind of, you know, for utility and also for pleasure and a mixture of all of that. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're like, we could literally talk for 2 decades. I'm just like, there's so much I already even like, oh my God, didn't think about that. I didn't talk about that. We haven't covered that. But it's like, this is like just 101. Okay, and then I just wanted to show another larger dildo that also has like kind of these anal like peaks and valleys, but it's a little thicker. So all of these textures, there's so many also texture ones or twisted ones, and like even novelty ones that can cause different create different pleasure. And so I just think it's fun to like look online and be like, what do I want to try? Like, and the world is your oyster. Like, and they ship in discreet shipping boxes, by the way. So, and if you, I was going to say this maybe at the end, but I'll say it
There's
now.
a lot of them
Mhm.
online stores. And one of the most fun things you can do is go on a date with somebody to a sex store too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And the staff is awesome. They're so knowledgeable and helpful and like chill, and they're here for it. They're here for your pleasure.
Right.
Okay, maybe last two. I think these are last two. But these are only a small percentage of my overall
Yes. No, I
collection.
love this. I love this. For those of you who are listening, you may want to actually look at the YouTube video
I
for this one.
recommend. I do recommend it
She'll
because
get
I'm
actually.
showing these live. Yeah, like it'll give you ideas. But this one was developed by Lily Allen, who's a British singer that I absolutely love. She's so sassy and fabulous. And it is a sucking one. So it actually sucks in air. And if you put it against your skin, it will suck your skin. So that one's pretty fun. It's just a different sensation and it can go right on the clit and it kind of it's not the same as a mouth for sure, but it's, you know, and there's different versions of this all over, but it can just kind of feel like somebody's sucking on your clit. So,
Yeah.
yeah, when you're alone.
Like a little
Yeah, this looks like a little clamshell that opens up and
like a little
inside,
vacuum.
yeah, it's like a mini tiny little vacuum that's like oval shaped. It fits right over or an
Right.
approximate.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. And for
And
some
like,
people, it's
I haven't tried it in other places, but you can play with these anywhere, you know? Yeah. What
uh,
were you gonna say?
well, for some people, direct clitoral stimulation can be too much. And so for
Yeah.
some people, they're like, oh, I tried it, it was too much. But for a lot
Mhm.
of people, it's like, wow, like that really like hits my clit exactly right, you know. And again,
And
with the
sometimes it's underwhelming too. So it's okay. Sometimes you have to try a toy to know whether it works for you. Not all of these are like phenomenal for everyone in every moment and every way, but they're fun to try.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
my final one, just because I think this one's so cool, is my rocket vibrator. It's shaped like a little rocket, and it makes me feel like I'm in the 60s or something, and I think it's adorable. And it's stainless steel and really powerful vibration. And it actually like kind of looks like an IUD at the top. The handle is like the shape of an IUD, but then it's basically just a long dildo that looks like a rocket. So
Yeah.
so you can like have fun collecting and finding these cool toys that also look cool. I have a glow in the dark anal play set at home. And they sent me all these stickers with it. It's like this just delightful set and they glow in the dark, so you can always find them. So there's just so much to explore beyond everything I've done here. And then there's a whole BDSM side that I didn't even get into and we won't have time for. But there's so many toys for pain pleasure. These are the standards and touch play and texture. Yeah.
She's showing paddles and
Paddles. Yeah, paddles, whips, flogs,
also
feathers.
like feathers, like for
Mhm.
sensation,
I love
sensation
a feather.
can be really fun.
And I couldn't find my little spiky wheel, but you can find little spiky wheels that look like garden tools that you can run on people, and it's like discomfort, but it's stimulating. And there's a whole range. I literally won't get into BDSM here. So like there's other people that are experts at that.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
and that's yeah. And I think out of the ones that I would just mention really quickly, even if you don't have them to show, is
please
there's
do. Yeah.
the rabbit dildo is a pretty popular one. That's where you have a dildo with these kind of like two clitoral like stimulators that look like bunny ears that come over. So you
Yes.
can have both that insertion, which you showed a tool that can do both the clitoral stimulation, but
Mhm.
that the rabbit is kind of a
Yeah,
popular.
that's like a combo of the one I usually use that's like forked and one you can insert. So it's like a combo of both. Yeah.
And then there's also the good old classic cock ring, which goes
Oh
on
my
a
God. Hey, I
cabinet.
forgot to show this. Yeah.
Oh,
And also as a cock and ball separator. Yeah. Do you
okay.
want to talk about the cock ring a little more and
Well,
what
you're
it
welcome to share whatever you want first,
I
and then
think you're like I will say I have a lot less sex with men than women, but like as far as I know, it constricts the blood that goes to the penis so it can create additional stimulation and a more powerful release.
yes, right for the male person wearing,
Yes, or for the person with a penis, yeah.
and also the person who is, if they're playing, especially with like a female, like missionary position, let's say, and there's something on the cock ring, like that ball, or even like bunny ears or whatever, there
Yeah.
can be things that try to impact the clitoris while there's thrusting through the penis, right? And it
Yeah,
can
this is a
be
very simple one. And then there's all kinds though. And then there's styled ones that have like brackets on them, like they look really punk, whatever. There's just like a million ways to do this. It's like glorified rubber band.
right, and it can help with erectile dysfunction as well because it helps the blood stay in the penis instead of going
Mhm.
back. Although you do want to be careful and read the directions because you're not supposed to have a cock ring on for a long period of time because then that can harm the small little blood vessels that you have going through a penis. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
look at us Mormon coming from Mormonism talking about
Shamelessly talking about the best sex toys. There's so many more too. Obviously, some contenders have been forgotten or not brought along, but I mean, it's only the beginning of a
right,
beautiful
right.
life.
Consider this a sex toy 101. We
Yeah.
gave you a few things to consider.
Mhm. Shamelessly.
There's so many things out there. And one thing too that I would say, because a lot of times sex toys are expensive and it's, I paid for something that I felt like, oh, what a waste of money because I didn't like this. I really try to chalk it off as entertainment budgeting. Like
I love that.
if I go to the movies, I'm spending $40, it's an experience or something. I'm
Yeah.
not really keeping anything. So I'm gonna say, okay, if it didn't work out, it was a good experience. I would
And I've also had toys that weren't interesting to one partner were completely interesting to another partner.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep everything. I'm like, I want everything possible to bring you pleasure. And welcome to the House of Laurel.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love it.
Oh, and that to me is the point. And I don't know, like maybe this is how we wrap it all up, but like bringing someone else or bringing yourself pleasure is just so much joy in that. And like everybody is different. And so that's why this fun array of tools, like we're so lucky to live in this time where there's all these sex tools that allow us to explore so much more of our pleasure. And I just think it's a beautiful way to bond with the people you love. It's a beautiful, like you can have so much fun with it and you can completely enhance your own sex life with yourself. So yeah.
Woo, I love it. And I would say, I mean, I think that's a great way to wrap up. I think pleasure is healing. Pleasure helps us with stress. Pleasure, I think these days is a revolutionary revolt against so many systemic things that are problematic.
It was for me. Absolutely.
Right. So it's leaning into pleasure is really leaning into health and to wellness and to healing practice. It's a healing practice. So
and human connection too.
Human connection. Right. So yeah, and anything that will help with that is fun and not, evil or perverse or all the things that, we were kind of encouraged to think about things in such a rigid way. So I love that you came on and were willing to talk so openly and vulnerably and
thank you for having me.
Right? Because it's one thing to talk about these things like, well, from a clinical perspective.
Yeah.
Personally.
I really like having also it's like sex toys are like a balance of fun and safety, right? So it's like I like to have all of that combined.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Laurel, for your time today. I hope you have a great rest of your visit here in Utah and that things, that hopefully our paths will cross again someday. So
I hope so. Thank you for having me on.
All right. Bye, Laurel. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Natasha Helfer Podcast. To help keep this podcast going, please consider donating at natashahelfer.com and share this episode. To watch the video of this podcast, you can subscribe to Natasha's channel on YouTube and follow her professional Facebook page at Natasha Helfer, LCMFT, CST-S. You can also find all her cool resources at natashahelfer.com. The information shared on this program is informational and should not be considered therapy. This podcast addresses many topics around mental health and sexuality and may not be suitable for minors. Some topics may elicit a trigger or emotional response, so please care for yourself accordingly. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or feelings of Natasha Helfer or the Natasha Helfer Podcast. We provide a platform for open and diverse discussions, and it is important to recognize that different perspectives may be shared. We encourage our listeners to engage in critical thinking and form their own opinions. The intro and outro music for these episodes is by Otter Creek. Thank you for listening.
There is a place where time slows to nature's pace, and there is space there to find yourself in her embrace. Some places should be left alone. No tishki say the so we can always go to the homeland of the heart. Earth's mysteries. Some places should be left alone. No tishki so we can to the homeland of the heart, to the homeland of the heart. Deep in our cities, we sleep without her stars, yet still her presence sustains us from afar. Some places should be left alone. No dish que shade and so we can always go to the homeland of the heart, to the homeland of the heart, to the homeland of the heart.